on how you eat or what you eat. Is a ruling of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on everything that we do.
Very true.
And
Very true.
it does not have any boundaries, any limitations. We do, but Allah doesn't.
Okay, I hear that.
Does Allah have any boundaries? Does He have any limitations?
You asking me that?
Yeah. Does His knowledge have any limitations? Does He have any boundaries?
No I would say there will be no limitation, but there definitely are boundaries.
What I'm asking is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, is there any boundaries that He has known to us?
His mercy is limitless.
Exactly. That's why He has no boundaries.
No, but what I'm saying, He has what is haram and what's allowed.
No, haram and halal is for us.
Right, exactly.
Good job. Okay. Haram and exactly. So we have boundaries. Yeah, He's set. That's my point exactly. You're making my point for me. You know, Allah Ta'ala has given us limitations and boundaries, and it's our responsibility to know what they are. You can't associate with Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. You know, you cannot call somebody else a spark of Allah or a hulk of Allah. A daughter of Allah, wa na'udhu billah, because that's what the Quraysh used to call the angels. They said they were daughters of Allah, and the statues that they had in there represented, you know, the angels, you know, the daughters of Allah. Any of that stuff, you know. And unfortunately, you have people today who really are lost in ignorance, who really are by default. I mean, they don't understand. Like, if you ask them, like, do you have any black, you know, acquaintances? They'll tell you no. You say, I mean, is it because you don't like black people? They'll say, no, I like everybody, right? But the way I treat my own is different from the way that I treat anybody.
Well, you know,
Like,
we're living in a highly tribal society.
well, see, just think about it this way. When I asked one of the brothers, I said, what do you think the issues in our community are? Do you know, this brother tells me that it is the immigrant community because they are racist. Point blank, it's the immigrant community because they are racist. That's what he told me. I'm just giving it to you the way it is, man.
Yeah, please, don't sugarcoat it. Just give me the facts as they present themselves.
Okay.
Exactly as it happened.
Right. And another brother said that the biggest problem in our community is ignorance, lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
You literally have no knowledge. And that was substantiated over the weekend. I'm sorry, like I think it was over last weekend, when one of the imams said that they are going to put somebody to give a khutbah who cannot even say his own name in Arabic. In other words, they don't care about who gives the khutbah, and the one who's listening to the khutbah does not care about what he's listening to. Majority of people, yeah. I mean, why? And you can't blame, you know, the people who go to these khutbahs. You cannot really blame them because they believe that they're fulfilling their obligation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's really why they're there. They believe that they're getting something from Allah just by showing up. But they don't really care about what the man is saying because they know that it's a repeat of decades worth of misinformation. Or just, I mean, I don't think everybody really understands this misinformation. I just feel that, you know,
Literally, they're pulling straws in the dark.
Okay, explain that.
You never heard that cliche before?
I never heard that cliche before. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah. So,
Well, you throwing darts in the dark, or are you saying pulling? The pulling I didn't hear before.
you're in a dark environment looking for solutions, and the straws are like the possibilities, and you have no idea what's the consequences, what's the rewards, what is this straw?
Right. Okay, I see what you're saying.
You're just in the midst of, you're just in darkness, somehow searching for a solution and have no idea what you're doing.
Right.
They call it pulling straws in the dark.
Pulling straws in the dark.
Yeah, yeah, man. Because all they know is that this has to change. I'm not content with my life. I'm making all kinds of wrong decisions, but I don't even know what are the possible decisions to make. I just need some help. Help. You're really just crying for help from somewhere, somehow, but have no idea what the help is going to be.
I gotta tell you, you know, until what I really believe, and this is not just what I believe. This is what I know with absolute certainty, without a possibility of a doubt, that until and only until we wake up and realize that there's only one way to Allah, which is Islam, and live upon it, give whatever we have to give. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He's purchased the paradise for you. It is very expensive, the paradise, the sacrifices that have to be done. The road to sacrifice is very difficult.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So until we understand that and apply it, unfortunately, as one of the boys said, and I hate to quote him, but I have to, we're toast. We're just toast. We're just toast. Just consider the fact that the ignorance is so rampant. The arrogance, it is, and I hate to use the word, but it's true. People really are stubborn in their ignorance, and that's arrogance. You get it? Stubbornness inside of ignorance equals arrogance. So they're so stuck on that. It's made them literally say things of hypocrites, do things that you would expect from a kafir, from a non-believer. I mean, they are, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, they are literally hostile in their ways. They're willing to kill for that. And that's very sad. I mean, you know for a fact. I mean, and I'll give you an example. Somebody says to me, whatever issues we're having, we need to get somebody to do research on how the Sahabas handled similar problems. Do research on how the Sahabas handled similar problems. Okay? So that means that is your solution. I mean, that's what you're saying should be the way to solve the problem, right?
I don't agree totally what you're saying, but I'm listening to it.
Well, that's what. Well. What basically what he's saying is that.
Yeah, I understand what he's saying.
Okay, so what part do you disagree with so far?
What I'm thinking of is that he wants a professional to come in and analyze what is the problem is.
Not.
And the problem is we just on a mass scale, not as individuals, because you have some very good Muslims around, very good people around and so forth. But on a mass scale.
Okay. So you don't like the research term, basically the research term.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It's a simple solution.
Right. I thank you. Well, but wait, it's not over there. Just be patient.
Let me say this.
There's more to the story. There's more to the story. There's more to the story.
Let let me say this. We don't want to obey the word, and we don't want no authority figure around us.
Okay.
We don't want nobody to be the authority on us. We already big-headed scientists walking around that know it all. And we'll sit back and read the word all day long and don't adhere to the word at all.
Well, that
comes down to paganism.
Well, mushrik, yeah, that's shirky. That is hypocrisy. That is, as I told you, that is being rejectful. And this is what we have. Like, people go to the masjids on Friday, and they pray, and then they leave, and they return to these type of lives.
Exactly.
And I don't understand how that's like how that is a blessing. Like, you just prayed. But what I'm trying to get to, here's what I think is important. If we say that we are a Muslim and that we've submitted ourselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we have to come to the realization that unless we abide by the order of the Shahada, unless we abide by it, there is no way we are on the right path. You understand what I'm saying? So if you say it and you witness, prayer together, all these things, and you claim that you are living upon the Shahada, but once you pray, you just go about, being racist towards the next person sitting behind you or on your right or your left. What's the point? You're racist, you're discriminatory. The place itself to be praying there is to be cleaned of all of that. None of that stuff should be known. But, again, everybody who is...
I went over there to Farlock for about 4 or 5 years. And in that 4 or 5 years, I probably met about 3 people.
Oh, that's horrible.
It is.
That's terrible. That is terrible. And see, that's the type of thing that is unacceptable in Islam. Point blank. That's unacceptable. Like, I love the way one of the brothers, he says that, we are the Ansar. We indigenous Muslims are the Ansar. And the immigrants are the Muhajirin. Until they accept that, and we work together as one, we put aside all of this foolishness. I mean, look at the elections. When that comes around and how, they jump really on the elections as if, one of the gods just show up. Yeah.
Man,
I mean, but how much money did the campaign cost this year?
Another experience. I remember one time I was over there at Farlock. It was a Juma, and the mayor of Richmond had came to the Juma, and he was gonna say certain things after the Juma.
Right.
I got up to make my sunnah. Man, them guys bum rushed that mayor so bad I ain't had no space to make my sunnahs, man.
Yeah.
I said, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous, man.
So, because they, right? Yeah, but that's how it's, again, it's a God. It's a God to them. It's really it's a worship. They're worshiping these ways. They're worshiping their way of life. They're worshiping the quote unquote capitalist, colonialist way of life. They strive to make their lives comfortable. That's what it's all about. That in itself was never given to you as a duty by Allah. Allah never said, I created you so that you can work for your comfort on earth. Where did he say that? He didn't. But you decided that you were not going to find out what Allah Ta'ala did create you for and how to put it in place, it into practice, and be a soldier of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for the betterment of the entire society, because that's what Islam is, peace for everyone. You went for the mushrikeen, for the kuffar, you went their way, you left the Quran. Do you see the problem?
Yeah.
So until they, until everyone comes and has a civil, professional dialogue about these matters on a consistent, long-term basis to eliminate it, to get it completely removed from this model that we know as Islam in America today, then this Quranic revolution will justify and substantiate only the truth and nothing but the truth from Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. But anything other than that, as he says, what is beyond truth than falsehood? We are here to definitely subdue those who are involved intellectually, of course, because, I think a lot of people, as the Quran says, they're not using their minds. So I think the first thing is to, give the person some kind of an awakening, obviously vocally, and then making sure that they are thinking critically. You have to make sure that these people are actually thinking right versus wrong. If you don't make sure of that, they will definitely lead, because they're in darkness, they will lead you further and further away in the conversation into something that has nothing to do with the point. Because they are that lost. Their ears, Allah Ta'ala sealed them. The ears, the heart, if they see truth, they cannot identify it. If they see falsehood, because they've been living falsehood. They can see falsehood as if it's true. So you have to, take into consideration the type of brainwash that has transpired here over the decades. They claim to be, Islamic societies, Islamic center, whatever. It's been misinformation. It's been a fraud. And I think about the the Jilani, TMOA Jilani cult. You know about them. I mean, just look at that. I mean, look at how that situation is. How we African American can be so oblivious to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, to where we would accept somebody to claim just for them, because of the fact they're from, Indo-Pakistan, they're light-skinned, they have straight hair, we're going to accept what they're saying without verifying it in the Quran, because we're so oblivious to what Allah says. I mean, that's a very strange situation. For 40 years, you believe everything that this man said to you without verifying it. That's a very, very, very strong statement. And you pay him your money too. You've been paying a lot of money over 40 years, like, when do we learn that Allah has his own way and only he decides what that way and when that way is going to come to pass? The man did not have the language of the Quran. That means that he could not explain the Quran. But if you look at his videos, he's struggling to explain, which somebody should have told him. Somebody should have spoken up. And I myself, when I first saw the video, I was like, he can't really recite, because believe you me, when they were telling me about how this and that, of course, and then you learn that he's on video, you're like, okay, so finally I'm going to get to see who they've been talking so much about. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when I found